All right, I'm back. It looks like I haven't released one of these in like a week. I'm super sorry about that. Let me just give you a rundown on what's going on, and then I can talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I've been working through lately. So just to start out with, well, I got new glasses. I don't know if you can see them, but well, that was stupid. Anyway, I'll leave it in. But yeah, I got new glasses. I don't know if you saw the video that I did where I basically tried on 5 pairs of glasses from Warby Parker. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with them. It was between this and another pair. And yeah, apparently I picked the pair of glasses that my wife of the two liked the least. But of the 5, there were a couple that she just basically said, no, no, you can't. So anyway, which was fine because none of them were the ones that were my favorites. These were the ones that I liked the best. So this is what I wound up with, and I'm pretty happy with them so far. They have the transitions lenses in them, so when you're out in the sun, they darken, and then when you're not in the sun, like right now, then they're perfectly clear. So anyway, pretty happy with them, and yeah. Anyway, so yeah, new glasses. And it's funny because some people, for them it's not a big deal. This is my second pair of glasses ever, corrective glasses anyway. So yeah, it's just kind of an, oh, okay, A, I'm getting old, I guess, and B, um, it was kind of fun going through the process of picking them. So I'm pretty happy with them. But yeah, let's get down to this week. So I talked last time, I think, about meeting with Eric and having him tell me I needed to figure this crap out with the sponsorships. And so the last week has basically been this frenzied effort to get the app together. So, essentially what I was building, if I had to boil it down to an MVP, is a place for podcasters to put in all the information about their shows so that advertisers can find the information, and then a place for the advertisers to come in and choose which ad placements they want so that they can just pay up front, run along with all that stuff, and then I need it also to run through things so that they can like upload banners and um, things like that. So anyway, that's kind of the rundown there. So hey, what are the talking points? Or if you have a script that the podcaster needs to read, or things like that, and then anything else that comes with the sponsorship. So working on that piece at this point. So at this point, what I've got is basically I have things set up so that the podcaster can go in, they can add their episodes that are upcoming, they can add past episodes too, and that's going to be a whole nother thing if I wind up integrating that in. I have another app that kind of does that, but anyway, so they can enter in future episodes, and then they can go in and the podcaster can select the ad spots that are filled and assign them to a sponsor. And that all works fine. Works great. I'm pretty happy with it, actually. So now what I'm working on is I'm working on the piece where the advertiser can come in, they can browse through podcasts, or they can browse directly to a podcast listing, and then they can select which ad spots they want. And that shouldn't be too terribly hard because it's essentially a variation on what the podcaster uses. The only difference is that it lists a price, and when they click the assign button, that the podcaster has, instead it takes them to a checkout page and they check out. So that's essentially all there is to that. So just kind of working that in and making sure that it all does what it needs to do. So yeah, so that's kind of where things are at there. I also have the landing page, the front landing page in. It doesn't have any copy in it or anything, so it's all just the boilerplate copy that came with the template that I'm using. But that's another piece that'll come in probably soon. But at this point, I just want to be able to go to my sponsors and say, hey, look, I've got this app in beta. You can go, sign up, and and then we can collaborate on the sponsorship and get that all done. I do have a couple of new sponsors that have, come on board and just paid. So, I'll be adding them to this system too, even though the one the one sponsor that came in and sponsored, probably what, a dozen and a half episodes. They actually gave me everything, including the ad read scripts. So I just read what they say, and then we're good. So I'm okay there. But yeah, if I can get it all together, then I can just pull the trigger on a lot of that stuff and make it happen. And then, yeah, the rest of it, I have Ruby Dev Summit this week. I need to go tweak the schedule a little bit because I had one speaker drop out at the last minute. She had something else going on. That leaves me with like 21 speakers. So it's not, I don't feel like people with tickets are still not getting what they paid for or whatever. So I've got to do that. I've got a little bit of other bookkeeping for people who bought tickets to Ruby Dev Summit and Ruby Remote Conf and React Remote Conf. So just make sure that they have access to the all access passes, because that's how I'm making that up to them, because I rejiggered the conferences. And yeah, so there are 5 talks today, and then I have a sponsor call. So the plan basically is at this point to make sure that everybody has what they need to get in, send out one last email, probably in an hour, that says, hey, the price is going up in 2 hours. If you want an all access pass, you need to get it now. And then just turning around and making sure that the conference goes well. And during the conference, I'm probably going to be splitting my attention between watching the conference and finishing up this coding on this app. But yeah, so part of the reason why you didn't get an episode last week, except for on Monday, was that I was working until like 2 a.m. and then I would get up and I would, in the morning, I wouldn't get up early. And then by the time I got back to my computer, all I really wanted to do was work on the app. So yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, that's kind of where things are at. Going forward, I've been trying to get this planning together, and it turns out I'm terrible at planning. So I have, like, I talked a little bit before about letting some folks go. And so at this point, all of the podcast management production stuff has fallen on me, except for the editing and the show notes. But all the rest of it is, so lining up guests and all that stuff. So that's kind of been interesting. It's not been a ton of work, but it's been a bit of work. And then just making sure that everything comes out when it needs to come out has also been a little bit of work. At this point, though, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out what parts of what I am doing I can outsource, and then maybe hire somebody again. But I'm not going to hire somebody unless I know specifically what I want them to do, and until I set things up so that they actually are reporting in on stuff. So, all that said, that's kind of where I'm looking there. But yeah, for the rest of the year, I know basically the big things that I need to get done, and how I need to, or what I'm planning to do to accomplish them. So yeah, I just need to jump in and figure it out. And one of the things that's kind of held me up in the past with 12-week year and stuff is that I'd get in and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to spend these many hours on this one thing and these many hours on this other thing, and I would optimistically front load my entire 12-week year so that the first 4-6 weeks I'd just hammer things out and get those things done, and then the last 6 weeks wouldn't have anything in them. And I found out that I wasn't being realistic about how much time these things were going to take, and B, I would give up on it because I didn't know what I was doing for the full 12 weeks. And so at this point, I basically have decided I'm just going to dedicate it in a week at a time. And so the first probably 2 to 3 weeks on the 12-week year, I mean, besides all the stuff that I have to do every week, like record the shows and upload them to the podcast editor and all of that kind of stuff, reach out to sponsors, etc. Everything besides that is just going to get funneled into this app for the first, probably 3, maybe even 4 weeks of the 12-week year. And then The plan is for the next 3 to 4 weeks of the 12-week year, I'm going to be working on rejiggering the devchat.tv page, website. And then the next 4 weeks after that, I'm going to do something else. And I have a few other projects that I'm looking at doing there. So just sitting down and just hammering this stuff out, I think is going to be really, really beneficial. And then, on some of the other personal stuff that I've got going on, just making sure that I make time for those projects. So for example, I want to get my tickets done for not Roundtable, for Wood Badge. And so just getting that stuff done. If you're not familiar with Wood Badge, it's a Boy Scout adult leader training thing. So anyway, that's kind of the main thrust of things here, is just getting all that stuff figured out and managed. But then I can start saying, okay, this is where my marketing efforts are falling apart, or this is where my this is where the conversions aren't happening or whatever on the website and things like that. And then what I can do is I can turn around and I can focus on that. So maybe the next 4 weeks after that will be just focused on getting those numbers and setting up some A/B tests so that I can figure out what's going on. But anyway, that's kind of the main thrust for this, and just figuring out, okay, this is where I'm headed. This is what I've got to get done. But those first 8 weeks, I know that those are the things that I want to work on. And those are the things that I think are going to make the biggest impact on what I'm doing. I do have a course that I sold this last year. I still haven't finished. And so that might be the other 4 weeks. So we'll see. Anyway, we'll see how it all works out. But yeah, that's kind of the main push at this point, is just to get this other stuff done so that I can accomplish my goals and kind of reach the kind of place that I want to be at. And then, in the middle of a lot of that, and I think I'm going to do a lot of that in the morning, is I'm going to finish cleaning and rearranging my office. Most of it's rearranging. Most of the mess is due to my rearranging. So at this point, it's just figuring out where everything is supposed to go. So anyway, that's kind of where things are at this point. But the planning has just been really, really hard. And the other thing that I'm finding is that even with the software product, I've been a programmer for 10 years. I've worked on many teams. Used a lot of different methodologies, a lot of different agile development practices. Man, some of this, just breaking things down into tasks, it sucks. It's hard. And, I think I just need to keep working at it to do it better. I'm pretty good at correcting what other people have done that's terrible on the projects that I've worked on. But yeah, just pulling this together and making sure that I'm doing the stuff that I need to do, and then just breaking it down into small chunks that I can work. That makes a lot of sense to me. And then the other thing that I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to give myself permission to not have to break it down to fine grained. Now this button has to work. Now that button has to work. But just in general, have the features in there, just the stories, the user stories. Customers should be able to select the spots that they want, and anyway, so things like that. So anyway, that's where I'm at this point. And I do need to just break down what I have left on this for my MVP, which is the minimum viable product. So essentially then just put that into GitLab and work that out. And then I'm also just working on a few things that I can do to cut some more costs here. There are a few places where I can still cut. I still have a couple of servers on DigitalOcean that I can get rid of. And so I just need to go in and make sure I have all the data out of those. And then I'm good. And then the other thing that I can do is I have a few services that I'm paying for that I don't need, but they have data in them too that I need to pull out. So, just working through that and getting that done as well. And that way, as I do profit first, and I kind of work things out so that I have money every month that's coming out of a savings account. In addition to what I can bring in with sponsorships and the conferences and stuff, I can turn around and pull the trigger on a lot of that stuff and just make it work. So anyway, that's pretty much how it goes there. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I think I have a couple of things I got to do for the conference first, and then I will probably be moving furniture around here for a minute. Basically, it's just a couple of chairs or a couple of desks and a recliner. So shouldn't be terrible, but it should be kind of interesting to see where things end up. I also have enough tether space on my headphones to where I can probably move around and rearrange some things while the conference is running. But anyway, that's pretty much that. Let me know if you want to get in touch or if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. Chuck at devchat.tv, and I'll talk to y'all later.